I nearly lost my life, and this wasn't the first breaking point. You ever feel like no matter how hard you try, you always feel like something keeps bringing you back to step number one, back to square one, and that thing keeps pulling you back? You set the goals, you have a plan, and you tell yourself, you know what, this time it's gonna be different. But then a lot of time passes and you sit and wonder and think, is this just who I am? What if I told you that's not actually the problem? Motivation, discipline, those are not the real issues here. It's not the real reason. But what's actually holding you back is your own identity. By the end of the video, you're gonna understand why you keep following the same patterns and what keeps pulling you back. But more importantly, you're gonna learn how to become the person that naturally follows through and really shifts their reality. Hi, my name's Marco, and I help people create real, lasting and intentional transformations in their life so that they can become the identity of not who they think they're meant to be, but who they truly are at their core. I know exactly what it's like to be trapped in a cycle of falling back to the same patterns, and for years I wanted to be more confident, so I read the books, I read the guides, I listened to everybody and everything, I did the routines, I had the willpower, but nothing seemed to stick and nothing actually seemed to work for me. And then I hit my breaking point that very night, which I fell down in tears, in agonizing pain after a pill overdose which I had, in which I nearly lost my life. And this wasn't the first breaking point that I had coming up to this true transformation that I experienced. There were many times when I was on that edge. Not saying that in a metaphorical sense, I mean I was on that edge, ready to jump. I was ready to take my life because I truly was lost and confused, and I had no direction whatsoever. That lack of confidence and a lack of belief was eating at me every single day, and it was something that nearly made me take my life. I looked at my life and I thought, you know what, something needs to change. If I don't, then I'm gonna be this way forever, and that's not a very long time. Honestly, that scared me more than anything. And I finally understood that to create real and intentional change, I had to begin to see myself and identify as the person who has clarity, as the person who is at peace with himself. So instead of focusing simply on habits, which I tried before, I focused on identity. I stopped trying to be more disciplined and started becoming the person who naturally follows through. Now, taking action isn't a game of something that I feel I have to do. It's something I just do because it's who I am. So here's why this matters to you. You don't stay stuck because you lack motivation. You stay stuck because your subconscious identity hasn't changed yet. And if you don't shift that, nothing else will stick. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your level of identity. If you still see yourself as someone who feels lost, who feels hurt, who keeps reliving the past, keeps bringing the past into the future, then your subconscious will always pull you back to that version of yourself. It'll always pull you back to what you know. But if you shift your identity from a subconscious level, everything else becomes effortless. So here's how you can break free from this pattern of keep going back to yourself and keep self-sabotaging. So number one, catch the pattern. Pay attention when you're about to self-sabotage. Not just the big moments, but the small ones. Hesitating to take action, overthinking, or avoiding something important. Number two, override it once. Just once, you need to override this pattern. When you catch yourself slipping into old habits, stop. Ask yourself, what would the ideal version of me do? What would my future self do? What would my desired version of me do right now? And then do that, even if it's small, even if it's uncomfortable. Number three, reinforce the new identity. Every time you override your old habits, you prove to yourself, I am someone who follows through. You give yourself that evidence. The more you do it, the faster you step into this new version of yourself, the faster you step into this identity, until it becomes second nature. So those are 3 steps you can start using today. And here's a challenge for you. The next time you catch yourself hesitating, act anyway. Make a different choice. Then come back and tell me in the comments, because this moment right here is where your transformation begins. And if you're serious about shifting your identity, watch more of my videos to find out how you can implement this in your life right here, right now, every day, as you take one step closer to your desired self, your desired reality is waiting for you. Are you ready?